Welcome to True Jamaica Buzz, news and entertainment with a buzz. The picture that you see on the screen is of a Jamaican, Savannah Phillips. 20-something-year-old, was an employee at the Hertz Rent-A-Car Company at the airport in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. However, based on a scheme that she tried to pull off, she pulled it off. She and three other men stole 12 vehicles, not one, not two, but 12 vehicles. Savannah was working as an employee security at that company. So therefore, anybody that drove out with any vehicle, she would have to verify, get driver's license, make sure that there was a rental contract. And in none of those 12 vehicles, there were no rental contract. I am going to let the professionals explain everything in details, and then I am going to give my piece.
That's right, Janice and Louie. Investigators calling this an inside job, that the woman worked here at this Hertz Airport location, manning the security gate, and allowed these thieves to allegedly leave with not one, not two, but 12 vehicles. 12 cars stolen from this Hertz car rental center. The person deputies say is responsible for letting the thieves get away with it is former employee Savannah Harsha Phillips. She's now behind bars. According to an arrest report, the thefts happened at the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport location on Friday, May 16th at 11 p.m. A security manager told investigators surveillance video captured three men walking into the garage, scoping out cars. They'd allegedly get into the cars, drive to the security gate, and make contact with Phillips. She's seen on camera pressing a button inside the booth, allowing the barrier arms to rise. Authorities mentioned the men returned a short time later and retrieved more vehicles. It only took an hour to swipe a dozen cars. All makes, models, and tags on the cars were documented, and Hertz management discovered there were no authorized contracts for rent on any of the cars. The arrest report goes on to say management was alerted to the thefts 2.5 weeks later on June 3rd after receiving two calls, one from a Hertz in Texas and another in Virginia, claiming the stolen cars were involved in crimes in those states. When Phillips was confronted by management, she allegedly became rude and irate, quitting and walking out of the office. She's now facing 13 charges. 12 of those are grand theft charges. Phillips' bond has been set at $62,000. And according to that arrest report, Hertz, the company, says that it took a hit of nearly $60,000 in this theft.
Now, people, a lot of persons are going to say, then hold on a minute, she leave all the way from Jamaica. How you know she is Jamaican? Well, people, it is verified, it is validated based on the news report, based on the police reports, and based on the edges that you see, the hairstyle. Ghetto as Fuck. But that is not the topic of conversation. Now, people, it shows you the mentality. Them leave from Jamaica and them have the same mindsets, conspiring for rob purses when there are surveillance cameras, when you are the one that is tasked, responsible for checking and make sure that everybody leaves, have a contract of rental. However, you allowed 12 persons, not 12 persons, 12 vehicles to be stolen by three individuals that came back to back to back and left with cars on maybe about 3 or 4 separate occasions. No say camera dead. No say the people are going to use the vehicle for either send to Jamaica or use on any sorts of criminal activity, which is the case in this case. Based on the information, based on the police report, it is said that at least 2 of those vehicles were used in criminal activities in separate states other than Florida. So people, at the end of the day, like I said, she knew or she should have known. However, when she weighed the pros and the cons, she decided that whatever money that she was going to get was going to eclipse her losing her job, cannot pay for her bills, cannot take care of her children if she have any at all. However, she still made that decision because she thought that she was smart and they were smart. They overestimated their ability and smartness and underestimated the ability of the cameras, of the police force, and of their employee. Makes absolutely no sorts of sense. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is based off an alleged take for yourself by a judge, Ruth Lawrence. 59-year-old going to be 60 on the 20th of October. So she lost her life a couple of days before her 60th birthday. It is said that it was her boyfriend, common law husband, whomever, somebody that she was in a relationship with. 47-year-old Prince Smith. Kind of weird, Mr. Smith was born 1976, but he is saying that he is 47. Based on the report he gave the police, so therefore that is a lie, their inconsistency. Based on what Mr. Smith said, he went to the house at about 5 o'clock, or he got up at about 5 o'clock to do their daily routine, 5 o'clock jog. Him called to her, no response. Called the phone, I guess, no response. He decided that he was going to leave and go and jog. Again, something that is very inconsistent. Cannot say it did not happen, but me just say it more than likely did not. Claimed that he came back at about 9 o'clock after jogging for, I guess, 4 hours or so. He must be from Kenya or some of them places around marathon. 4 hours worth of jogging. Anyway, again, that is a little bit inconsistent. He claimed that he made breakfast and he made lunch for her at about 9 o'clock or so. About 1, 2 o'clock again, he went knocking. Him not hear nothing. Him call the phone, I guess, him not hear nothing. Then him hear some sorts of moaning, and him a check for see if she all right. However, at about 4 o'clock or so, he decided, listen, this kind of strange, this is kind of weird. Him go and him check, him knock, and him hear moaning. Him go outside, look through the window, and him see her upon the floor and a moan and a groan. He then, I guess, opened the door and let himself in. That was where he saw her in all sorts of pain, all sorts of vomit, all sorts of feces on the floor. He then decided to clean her up, put her upon the bed, ask a question what happened. I guess based on the conversations that she had with him, she told him that she had ingested some gramazone. You know that that is bad for your health. He then decided that he was going to use a home remedy, that kind of antidote for any sorts of gramazone. Now, people, I don't know about you, but the average Jamaican is not going to have charcoal. The average Jamaican is not going to have any sorts of busy at their home. Unless, well, the busy maybe, but charcoal, more than likely, no. He then decided that he was going to take her to the Falmouth hospital, and that was where she was treated, and I guess she did not make it. She eventually lost her life. Now, people, I am no crime scene expert, but what I do have is common sense. I have common sense, and it tells me that something, my spidey sense tells me that something is wrong with this whole story. First thing first, when we talk about the person that took the reports, I don't know how much experience that person, woman or man, police had in taking reports, but you should immediately hear or decipher when you are hearing BS. And this is all BS. First thing first, with his age. Him claims him born 1976, but he's 47-year-old. Him claims say him get up 5 o'clock for go jog their routine jog, and him knock, and him call, and no sorts of answer. Nobody that is in a relationship with a woman or man is going to be concerned or know that that is a possibility that them sick and not check for see if them actually pass away or they're feeling worse. So it would be an emergency situation. He left at 5, came back at 9, did not check at 9 again. He decided that he was going to make breakfast. Was not even aware if this lady was alive or not, but he's making breakfast and making lunch. Very inconsistent. 2 o'clock or so, 1, 2 o'clock or so, him hear some strange sound. Him check, he totally ignore that. That is not something that you do with somebody that you love. 4 o'clock, him decides, say, him going to make an entry. Him hear the noise again, the moaning and groaning again. Him now wonder if a Joe Grind, he thought that she was sick, and obviously she was sick. Maybe by ingesting something of her own, or more than likely, he did it. Him clean her up and then take her to the hospital. 7 o'clock. So people, from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., if my math suits me correctly, that is 14 hours. You know how much thing can happen in a 14 hours? You know how much life could have been saved? That lady's life could have been saved. So what this tells me is that he deliberately was buying time and hoping that whatever she took or whatever he gave her, more than likely, would have caused her to lose her life at the point. So therefore, he did not want to take her somewhere where she could give testimony and tell people, say, this happened, I'm going to eat some food that he prepared for me, and the food that I ate that he prepared for me caused me. So therefore, watch him, he is a suspect. More inconsistencies is in the fact that you live with a woman and you're down at the doghouse, or she is not in the doghouse, meaning that there's something wrong in a paradise, there is problem in the relationship. So therefore, you there at the west wing, she there at the east wing. So therefore, get along. So therefore, you would separate bathroom or separate bedroom. You stay in different living quarters, or you sleep in different quarters. That was not the case. He claimed that she was stressed from work, claiming that she was supposed to be transferred from one location to the next based on her job, so she was kind of stressed out. Now, people, as far as I know, judges are properly compensated, properly paid, so therefore they would not have a financial problem. One of the things that lead, or one of the most significant things that leads to most person taking their life is because them stress out because of finances, or because of man problem, or because of something else. Judges, typically, their MO is to be strong-minded, meaning stable in them finance, stable in them mind, because after all, they are making some serious decision that can influence person. So therefore, you cannot be any sorts of flaky person to be any sorts of judge. So initially, when I heard that this lady is a judge, I said, then hold on a minute. I know that this take away yourself thing is kind of like an epidemic right now. However, when it comes to a judge and it comes to certain people, even though based on information that I am getting, the persons are the career in which most people take for themselves are persons that are psychologists, that are actually listening to other persons that have psychological problems. Cannot verify or validate, but adapt me here. Some just go with it, me run with it, something else to say. So anyways, people, at the end of the day, we say everything was wrong with this in the report, in the person that was taking the report, in the inconsistencies with a man don't even know what year he was born, so therefore it shows us nervousness. In his timeline, it makes absolutely no sorts of sense. You're not going to be in a relationship with a woman and you can't get in the bedroom. I understand that a judge wants their privacy, and a judge put themselves on a pedestal, and therefore whenever they're in the courts, them no want nobody enter them chamber because them think them have made certain things. So therefore, them kind of want them privacy. However, whenever you're in a relationship with a man, whether you're there in the bathroom, whether you're naked, whether the circumstance, that man should have access to the place and access to you. That man should be around you and be easily accessible in the room. Since him claims say you're stressed out, people, this makes no sorts of sense. And it is not consistent with how persons live in a relationship. Makes absolutely no sorts of sense. More than likely, this man is a suspect or himself as FUCK, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, based on the picture that you see on the screen as I speak, is of a uptown youth, Jamaican businessman slash YouTuber. People, I have never heard about this man, and it is no disrespect to him. I am sure that there's a lot of persons that are living that never heard about me either. However, the point that I am trying to make is that it seems as if most of the time when we hear about these persons is when they are on the opposite side of life. Based on the information, it is said that this man that lives uptown went to his mother's room, went to his father's room, reassured them that he loved them. As a matter of fact, it is said that he was hugging his parents for about 10 minutes or so. Don't know if that is exaggerated, meaning that he was hugging them for an extended time. He then reassured them that he loved them, like I said before. He then went to his room and said, the father up above say, it is my time. He then put one of those strap to him head and then, you know me I talk about, press it and make it bust up in him cranium. Needless to say, he was taken to the hospital and then he lost his life. Too late was the call. Now, people, it seems as if this is kind of contagious. We saw that Tyra Spalding did the same thing. However, in Tyra Spalding's situation, we saw that she was desperate, quit her job, everything that she tried, including modeling. It had pretty much failed her, so she did not see any reason to go on. In her case, in my opinion, her friends failed her, her family failed her job failed her. Then again, in some cases, some people are beyond that. Nobody can save them. They have made up their mind that that was it and that was going to be taken to the furthest extent, in which she did. Less than a day ago or so, we hear about the judge again, Ruth Lawrence, that allegedly did the same thing. Very controversial, in my opinion. She did not do it. In this case, based on what we hear, this man is a successful businessman. Now people don't get it twisted, don't get it misconstrued. A lot of times persons have business and the business have stock and the business seems to be booming. However, it is about what you make versus your expenses. So a lot of times persons are living in debt. However, they make it seem and put up a different side, the polar opposite side to the truth. Not to say that this man's business was not successful and he was not doing good on YouTube. Me not really know. Me I hear about him after I'm losing life. So therefore, I cannot validate or verify. One thing that I know about these uptown people is that them always put them heart where them can't reach it. A lot of them are doing successful stuff. A lot of them have booming business. However, in a lot of cases, they are trying to keep up with the Joneses. And that is a very high standard. The bar is set very high. So based on the fact that the bar is set so high in these uptown places and everybody is trying to show and prove how much them have, how much success them have, is that persons that are not doing so well become shame. Because them can't turn to the people that can actually help them. And even the ones that can help them would not help them. And because of shame, because of peer pressure, if it don't look like you as a failure, then you're just going to fail and you're going to take it to the furthest extent. Don't know if this was the case in that case, but me just say, Jamaica is changing. Jamaica is getting worse. Jamaica was not one of those places where you hear some people take for themselves. And I don't know if it was happening, but because of the advent of social media, we're hearing things on a rapid, more desperate basis. People, me no know. Let me know what you think in the comment section. This is a very sad state of affair. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is that we see that the St. Catherine North Police is putting in the work and they're getting the desired results. Based on statistics, based on information reports by the police, it is said that last year, this time they recovered about 40-something guns and ammunition. This year, 50-something, so therefore that is a vast improvement. I am going to let the SSP for the era, his name is Upton Nicholson, explain everything in details, how they intercepted at least 2 vehicles, 2 different situations, 2 different occasions in which some people that were unscrupulous were intercepted in this vehicle and they found them with guns, and these persons were wanted in a separate places other than St. Catherine North. Take a listen, take a look, and then I'll give my piece.
The St. Catherine North Police Division says it has recovered 52 firearms this year, compared to 43 over the same period last year. Commanding Officer Senior Superintendent Upton Nicholson says 2 men were recently charged with possession of prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition in 2 separate incidents. Senior Superintendent Nicholson says one of the men was the subject of investigations in 2 police divisions. He said on Sunday the police were responding to a robbery in another section of the parish when they intercepted the vehicle the suspect was traveling in.
Now, during this operation, the team intercepted a motor car in the Lauriston community in Spanish Town. The motor car was searching the presence of the driver and an illegal firearm was seized. This man is also the subject of investigation in other police jurisdictions, to include St. Andrews South and the St. Catherine South.
Commanding Officer for the St. Catherine North Police Division, Senior Superintendent Hopton Nicholson. Senior Superintendent Nicholson said a 9mm pistol and 3 live rounds were recovered during a targeted operation in Unity recently. 45-year-old truck driver Kirk Thompson was subsequently arrested and charged.
So people, you hear what the SSP said. 2 different occasions. 2 different set of gunmen, wanted men, intercepted in a vehicle. And these 2 different set of men were taken in by the police. These people should thank their lucky star, because under the present climate, culture in Jamaica, it is very unusual for the police to pull you over, intercept the vehicle and see you with gun, and then you end up to tell the tale. You should be on the other side of the tail of the donkey, under the donkey ASS. You should have been asked out. So these young men should thank their lucky star on whichever side of the bed that they slept on. Well, they're going to be sleeping on a separate side of the bed, in a separate bed, in a separate location, meaning the big yard. But me just as said, these should have been at least 2 or 3 men that were taken out without a shadow of a doubt. Point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. Bless up.